everyone! Today's video tutorial is going to be how to crochet a really cute cupcake dishcloth. I wrote this pattern for Lily's Sugar and Cream yarn in conjunction with their promotion in Michaels. It's called their Sweets and Delights promotion, and they are introducing a handful of really yummy, cute new colors, kind of in a pastel candy color range. And this is a free pattern available at michaels.com. You can either search for Cupcake Dishcloth at michaels.com and this will pop right up, or if you search Twinkie Chan at michaels.com, all of the free patterns that I've written for Michaels will pop up. I haven't been able to see the actual promotion here in the Bay Area yet. I've been to 4 different Michaels, so I don't ultimately know what all the final colors were, and I've been able to see the promotion across the country and also in Canada only because all my really cool Facebook friends and people online have been messaging me and texting me photos, so thank you so much for sharing those with me. Otherwise I never would have known what it actually all looked like. I do have a couple of the colors that they sent me for sampling. This pink is Strawberry Shortcake, and this blue I think is it's Blue Cupcake or Cupcake Blue, and there's a beautiful minty color which is one of my favorites, and they also have a beautiful lavender called Sherbet. There are some variegated colorways, but I don't know the names of them off the top of my head. So if you guys see the promotion in your Michaels, feel free to send me more pictures, especially if they indicate what the new colors are. I believe they're also running a sale. It's like $1.99 for a ball, so that's pretty good. For the cupcake frosting, I will be using this color. It's hot pink. And then for the cake, I'll be using this beautiful blue. It's called Robin's Egg Blue. And then for the cherry, I'm using red. And you can use the same color for the hanging loop, but I like a contrast in color. I will be using hot green for the cherry stem / hanging loop. And I kind of just wanted to say one more thing about all my video tutorials. I strongly suggest that all crocheters become really familiar with reading patterns. I get a lot of messages from people saying, I can't read patterns, can you make a video tutorial for this pattern and this pattern and this pattern? And honestly, no. I really think that if you don't try really hard to read patterns, that you're going to be missing out on a ton of really wonderful projects. So this tutorial is sort of more of a visual aid. Like, you really should still have the pattern in front of you. I may not mention every stitch, every pattern repeat. It's just more so you can see how the whole thing comes together. There's one part in the pattern in particular that people have been messaging me about that they're confused with, so hopefully this video will solve that. But otherwise, try to learn how to read some basic patterns. It really all makes sense. You just need to get familiar with all the abbreviations, and I think that is kind of a big hump, and once that becomes sort of a regular and new language for you, then all the patterns will become much more easy to read. So anyway, blah 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 blah, here we go. So this is what our finished dishcloth is going to look like with all the colors that we're using. I'll be using my trusty Susan Bates H-hook with a bamboo handle, and that's where my dog chewed it up. But you can use whatever hook you prefer when you're working with the worsted weight yarn. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if your dishcloth turns out the perfect size, it'll still be usable, so just using probably an H-hook or an I-hook or whatever, which one you feel most comfortable with. And I'm going to start with a slip knot. And since we're working kind of in the round, if you are comfortable with doing adjustable ring, adjustable circle, magic circle, whatever you call it, do that. I will be honest, I have never been super comfortable with it, so I always just do the cheat, which is to slip stitch and chain 3, and then slip stitch to the first chain to form a little ring. And in round 1, we chain 2 and work 4 half double crochet into the ring. So there's 1. Half double crochet is yarn over once, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. So now I just need to work 2 more for a total of 4 stitches. In my pattern, the chain 2, the turning chain, will not be counting as a stitch, so you will not be working in that. So now we're at round 2. Chain 2, turn, and work 2 half double crochet in each stitch across. So here's the first one, and then you work another half double crochet back into the same stitch, and you repeat that 4 times. Okay, that's the end of round 2. Round 3. Chain 2 and turn. Now you're going to do 2 half double crochet in the first stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in the following stitch. You're going to repeat this pattern 3 times total. So do it 2 more times. And then you're going to do 2 half double crochets each into the last 2 stitches. My pattern for this half circle is not perfectly regular, like the math is a little funky, only because it's what I discovered maintained the shape the best. Okay, now we're at round 4. So chain 2 and turn. Sorry about my dog. Sorry about my dog. Shh. Kick the door closed. Okay. Round 4. 2 HDC in the next stitch. 1 HDC each in the next 2. And you're going to repeat that a total of 4 times. And then work 2 HDC into the last stitch. That's what this is looking like so far. Round 5. Chain 2, turn. 2 HDC in the next stitch. 2 and 1. 1 HDC in the next 3 stitches, and we're going to repeat that a total of 4 times. 2 in the next. 1, 2, 3. 2 next. 1, 2, 3. 2 next. 1, 2, 3. And then you're gonna 2 HDC in the next stitch and 1 HDC in the last stitch. Oops. Round 6. Chain 2, turn. Now you're going to do 2 HDC in the next stitch, 4 DC, 2 HDC in the next stitch, and then 1 HDC in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to repeat that a total of 4 times. My dogs are going crazy because I can hear the UPS man driving up. Okay, we have 3 remaining stitches. So in the last 3 stitches, it's 2 HDC in the next stitch and 1 HDC each in the next 2. So 2 in the next, and then 1 each for the final 2 stitches. Okay, coming right along. Looks like a pretty good semicircle. What round are we on now? Round 7. Chain 2 and turn. It's 2 HDC in the next, 1 HDC in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and repeat that 4 times total. I think after this round, I'm going to take a break and bring my dogs in so they don't annoy my neighbors by barking like that all the time. And in the remaining 4 stitches, it's 2 HDC in the first stitch and then just 1 HDC in the last 3. So this is what we look like after round 7. You should have a stitch count of 33 stitches, and I'm gonna bring my dogs in, so 1 second. Well, I'm glad I ran out there because they were barking and digging a huge hole, so good times. Alright, round 8 is chain 2, 2 HDC in the next stitch, 1 HDC each in the next 6. And you repeat that 4 times. So 2 in the first, and 1 each in the next 6. And then in your final stitches, 2 HDC in the next stitch, and then 1 HDC each in the last 4. This is round 9, which is our final round. 1 HDC into the next stitch, and 1 HDC each in the next 7. You're going to repeat that a total of 4 times. And then in your final stitches, 2 HDC in the next and 1 each in the last 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what our half circle looks like right now. And then we're going to work on the little scallops for our frosting. And the first step to that is we're going to be working along this long edge here. What you're going to do is single crochet as evenly as you can 28. Single crochet 28 across here. And it's not like real stitches where you know exactly where to put your hook. You kind of have to eyeball it, and you kind of have to just sort of eyeball what you feel is working evenly. And what you can try to do is work 14 evenly from here to the center, and then 14 more until the end to get 28. But just try to do your best. Just do it as evenly as possible, and it's really important that there are 28 single crochets. So I'm going to chain 1 and try to work my single crochets as evenly as possible, and it should turn out to be 14 when I'm about at the center. So there's 1. You just start stabbing into there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, this is gonna be funky, 13, and then I'm pretty much at the center, so I'll stick my 14th in the very center, and then work 14 more to the end of the edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, get in there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sometimes it's hard to get it in there. 9, let's see, 10, 11, 12. I'm gonna put my 13th here, 13. And then I'm going to put my last stitch into the, looks like this would have been the first HDC from round 9, and I think that just gives it a nice clean edge. So that's 28 across. And now to do the scallops, I'm going to refocus my camera. Okay. Now to do the scallops, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, here's the kind of funky part. This row is worked in back loops only, and what that means is when you look at a stitch, your stitches kind of look like a little V, right? A V, 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 V. And normally when we're working, we work through both of these loops. When you work in the back loop only, it's pretty logical, you work only in the back loop. And so the reason why we're working this round, or this row in the back loop, is because we're saving the front loop to work our cake color in later. So I think it's a fun technique because you don't have to do any sewing later. It's just kind of one fluid piece. I know it's been causing a little bit of confusion, but it's actually pretty straightforward. So remember, this round 2 of the frosting, or row 2 of the frosting, is worked only in back loop only. And chain 1 and 4 double crochet, I'm sorry, work 4 double crochet into the next stitch. Remember the back loop only. There's 1. Double crochet is yarn over 1, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and I need to work 2 more into this stitch. Okay, and then it's skip a stitch and then slip stitch into the next. And remember, it's the back loop only work in the back loop. You're going to repeat this pattern all the way across. Skip the next, 4 double crochet into the next, skip the next one, slip stitch in the next one. Remember, back loop only. You're going to keep doing that 6 times all the way across your edge. So skip 1, 4 in the next, skip 1, slip stitch, skip 1, 4 in the next, skip 1, slip stitch. If you don't know already, slip stitch is just stick your hook in the next stitch, yarn over and pull through both of the loops. Skip 1, 4 crochet, skip 1, slip stitch. And now we have 1 stitch left, and the last stitch, work 4 double crochet, and then for a nice clean edge, I slip stitch into the last HDC from round 9. Like that. Seriously, I have no idea where to put my scissors. I will use a different pair of scissors. Okay, so cut that. Break off. Breaking off just means after your last stitch, yarn over one more time, pull all the way through your tail. Leave enough of a tail to weave in your ends, which I will be doing later. You can weave in all these ends now if you want, but I'm going to do it later. Okay, so this is what your piece looks like now. This is the front or the right side of your work, the RS of your work. And all these pretty scallops on the front. And then on the back, you still have all these front loops to work in. And that's where we're going to join the cake. So what we're going to do is we're going to join our blue cake yarn into the first loop remaining. This was the front loop from the frosting we just worked. You're just going to join into that. And the whole first row of the cake is worked in these convenient loops that we have left. So all you're going to do for this first row is work 1 single crochet into each of these loops. So that will be a total of 28. Single crochet is just insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So you'll see how your 2 different colors basically shared the stitches from, what was it, row 1 of the frosting? I'm not going to confuse you with that, but yeah, it's really cool. So you worked 1 color in the back loop, and now you're working the second color in the front loop. I think back loop and front loop work is considered to be pretty advanced intermediate or advanced beginner kind of stuff. So if you were able to do it, you were well on your way to acquiring some good skills. Okay, let me just count. I think I have 1 more. Sometimes it's hard to see, so just count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28. Nope, that's all of them. 28. So that is row 1 of your cake. So then we're just going to start on row 2. Row 2. This is a decreasing row. Let me show you how we're working. So we're working upside down on the cupcake here. And what's happening is, to maintain this cute cupcake shape, we're going to have to decrease our number of stitches. So there will be some decreasing rows. And then there's also going to be these front loop stitches which create this cool texture. So there's kind of a lot going on this, but you just pay attention to the pattern and keep up, all will be good. So this row is a decreasing row. And we're going to work single crochet together, which smashes 2 stitches from the previous row into 1 stitch into the current row. So that's how it creates a decrease. So insert, yarn over, pull through 1, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over and pull through all 3. And that is the single crochet 2 together. And then 1 single crochet in the next 11. And then you're going to work another single crochet 2 together. And then 1 each in the next 11, again, single crochet. And you should have 2 stitches remaining, and you're going to single crochet 2 together to finish row 2. Row 3. Pretty much for the rest of this pattern, your odd rows, 3, 5, 7, 9, are just going to be single crochet across evenly. So all your odd rows are going to just be really easy and straightforward. This is row 4. Row 4 is going to be one of the rows where we work in front post stitches to create the cool cupcake ridgy texture. So we'll talk you through it. It looks a little funky on paper, but it's not too crazy. Chain 1 turn, 1 single crochet each in the next 2 stitches. So that's pretty easy. 1, 2. Make sure I'm in focus. Pretty good. Okay. The next direction says to front post half triple crochet in the 4th stitch from 3 rows below, which sounds so terrible, but okay. So working 3 rows below just means the first row of our cake of the blue. And you're going to work your front post half triple in the 4th stitch from down there. So 1, 2, 3, that's the stitch you're working through. And front post stitching means you're just working around the stitch like that. You're gonna grab it, okay? And the half triple crochet is yarn over 2 times and then insert around this post, yarn over 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. And that is your half triple crochet worked in the front post from 3 rows below. Sounds like a mouthful, but if you visualize it, it makes kind of a lot of sense. Okay, and then 1 single crochet each in the next 3 stitches. And remember, since you've worked this front post stitch, you need to skip 1 stitch in your current row because the front post stitch counts as that stitch. Okay, so skip 1 and then 1 single crochet in the next 3, and then you're going to front post half triple in the 4th stitch from 3 rows below again. So starting from here, count 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the one, and do your front post half triple. And then remember to skip the stitch that's behind your front post stitch, and you're going to work 3 single crochet evenly again. It's time for the front post stitch. Remember, count from your last front post. 1, 2, 3, that's the 4th one, that's the one you want. And then your front post triple crochet. Skip this space here, and then 1, 2, 3 SC. And then you're going to front post again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Front post half triple. Skip the stitch that's behind it, and then work 3 single crochets evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip this one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then remember to skip the one behind here and then just 2 SC evenly in the last 2 stitches. That's round 4. Not too bad, right? Okay, chain 1 turn, and then since this is an odd row, you just single crochet evenly across. Row 6 is a decreasing row. So we're going to begin by crocheting 1 single crochet each in the next 2. And then you're going to work a single crochet 2 together, and then work 17 evenly, 17 single crochet. And then work your next single crochet 2 together, and then 2 single crochet in the last 2 stitches. Now you're at row 7, which is an odd row, and it's just single crochet evenly across. And this should end up being 23 stitches since you just decreased. Now we're on to row 8, and this is going to be a front post working row. And now instead of working in front post half triple, you're going to be working in front post triple. We just need that extra length to wrap around our stitches. Row 8, one single crochet each in the next 2. And then you're going to front post triple around your front post half triple. So that's really easy. The triple crochet is yarn over twice, and then pick up your stitch, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your triple crochet. And remember to skip the stitch that's behind it, and then one single crochet each in the next 3, and then another front post triple around your half triple from below, and then remember to skip that stitch behind it, and then it's work 2 single crochet evenly, and then front post triple. It's gonna seem weird, stretch it out over there, oops, sorry, front post triple around your previous half triple, to skip that stitch, and then work 3 single crochet evenly, and then work your triple around that half triple. Remember to skip this stitch and 1 single crochet in the next 2. And here, again, skip this and then work 3 single crochet, and then work your front post triple around this last front post stitch. Remember to skip and then work 1 single crochet into the last 2 stitches. So it's a little funky. We kind of, sorry, I keep kicking my tripod. We kind of alternated how many stitches we worked in between the front post stitches because we right now have fewer and fewer stitches to work with since we've been decreasing. So that's why that's a little funky. I just wanted to make sure that all your front post stitches stay as evenly spaced as possible, and that means altering how many single crochets we work in between each one. So as we go along, the number of those stitches will decrease more and more. So row 9 is an odd row, and that just means we work evenly across. It should be 23 single crochets evenly. We're at row 10. So this is a decreasing row. So you're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together, and then work evenly in the next 15. And then single crochet 2 together to decrease, and then 1 single crochet in each in the last 2. So this should now have 21 stitches. Chain 1, turn. This is row 11, so just single crochet evenly across. And again, your stitch count should still be 21. Okay, now we're at row 12, and this is a front post row. Chain 1, 1 single crochet in the next 2, and front post triple around the front post triple from the rows below. Remember to skip the next stitch in the current, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2. We're just going to repeat that 3 times. Oops. Skip 1, work 2 single crochet, since we're in the center here, skip 1, work 3 single crochet, your front post triple, skip this, work 2 single crochet again, your front post triple, skip that, 2 single crochet, your front post triple, just skip that one, and then a single crochet evenly in the last 2. That's row 12. Row 13 is odd, so just do that evenly, single crochet evenly across, super easy. Okay, now you're at row 14, which is a decreasing row, and we're only going to decrease by 1 stitch in this row, so we're going to stick that decrease in the center, so it's 1 single crochet each in the next 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then single crochet 2 together, and then you're going to single crochet evenly in the last 10 stitches. And you should have 20 stitches in this row. Chain 1 and turn. Alright. This is row 15. Your odd row, your working single crochet evenly row. Row 16. This is going to be your last row with the front post work. So you're going to 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, work your front post around the last front post, and you're just going to keep repeating that basically all on down the line. So remember, skip 1 in the current, 2 SC, and front post triple, skip that, 2 SC, your triple, skip 2 SC, triple, skip 2 SC, triple, skip 2 SC, triple, skip, and 2 SC. And row 17 is your last row, and it's just working single crochet evenly across, and this should be 20 stitches. Oops. You get to break off. The pattern says fasten off, break off. It's kind of all the same. So trim this. I like to leave, remember, enough length to be able to weave my ends in later. Pull through and just, oops. Get in there. Pull that all the way through. So this is what it looks like right now. It's pretty cute, right? It just needs a cherry on top. So again with the cherry, if you're familiar with adjustable ring or a magic circle or whatever you want to call it, you can do that. My cheat for the cherry is I put on my slip knot and then I chain 2, and then you just skip that first chain and just start working in the round in this second chain. So work 6 single crochet, oops, there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't join your rounds. That's what we call working, when you don't join your rounds, that's what we call working in a spiral. Your second round, I think there's a boo-boo. We're not joining our rounds, so you don't need to chain 1. In my pattern it says to chain 1. I think they just added that as a misunderstanding. I submitted my pattern to Sugar and Cream, and then they had someone edit the pattern and work a sample. So, you know, sometimes there's a miscommunication, but don't chain 1 here. There's no point to chain 1 if you're not joining your rounds. Just go right up in there and work 2 single crochet in each stitch 6 times. And then yeah, don't join, but don't chain 1 again either for the third round. You're going to repeat this motif 6 times. 2 SC in the next stitch, 1 SC in the next stitch, for a total of 18 stitches. Also, I'm noticing the pattern says to repeat the motif 5 times, but I would repeat that 6 times. That's how you normally work a circle. So sorry about the confusion. I only just noticed that just now, so I'm going to make that correction in my blog, and I'll double check on the Michael site to see if it's still funky on the Michael site, but yeah, I would stick with my blog for some pattern corrections. There's just some weird miscommunication. It's really just a simple circle. If you know how to single crochet a circle, it's just a 3-round circle with 18 stitches. Yeah, if that means anything to you, that's all it is. And then I slip stitch to the next chain to sort of round off my edge, and then break off, leaving about 18 inches of yarn, because you're going to be using this yarn to sew the cherry to the cupcake. Break off. So we're gonna do the stem or the loop, the stem of your cherry or the loop of your dishcloth. And I work this separately from the cherry itself, because if you actually hang your dishcloth, I felt that it would put too much strain on the cherry and stretch it out. So I'm creating them as separate pieces, and the loop eventually gets sandwiched between the cherry and the dishcloth, and I just feel that it will provide more strength for your loop if you're actually hanging these things. So with hot green, or you can still use red, it's up to you, I chain 14. And making sure there are no twists in this chain. Then you just slip stitch to the first chain to form this long loop. And I break off, leaving about 8 inches for sewing. That's pretty easy. Looks like that. And the next step is just putting everything together. So I'll weave the ends in on my cupcake. And I think everyone has different techniques for weaving. I basically just try to take it invisibly inside the stitches of the same color. You can check that it's invisible by flipping it over. If I can't see where my needle has been traveling. I know that my yarn is traveling inside. And so you can take it through a couple stitches and then take it through to a row next to it and then take it through a couple more stitches. And usually I would like to go across maybe like 3 or 4, but if there's not enough, you kind of do what you can. And changing directions like that and working through multiple rows helps keep the end from unraveling. So I'll do the bottom one. Just kind of wanted to show you another method that I've seen people use. Like, let's say you only have one row of a color to weave through. You take it through a couple stitches. Oops, sorry, I have an itch on my nose. Okay, and then pull your yarn through, and then you just kind of wrap your yarn around one loop of a stitch and then keep going in the same direction. And that little wrap should help keep your yarn from pulling out. Like that. So that's another. There are all kinds of different techniques that people use, so you can kind of Google around and just figure out which one that works best for you. Okay, there's our cute cupcake. When you work in single crochet, sometimes the corners of your work will curl up, and I've been Googling all sorts of things. Some people say if you work too tightly, it'll curl, so just work more loosely. But even working loosely does not work for me. So, you know, if you've worked most of your rows in like half double crochet or double crochet, this usually won't happen. If just for some reason it's working in single crochet that does that. Since this is cotton, you could probably steam it down or Google wet blocking and you could block it. It's basically wetting it down and pinning it down or weighting it down, and when it dries it should retain its shape. And you can easily block natural fibers like cotton or wool. For me, it does not work with synthetic fibers like acrylic, but you know, you're free to experiment. So if you're giving these as a gift and this curling is bothering you, you can try to block your cotton dishcloths. So my next step is to sew my cherry loop or the cherry stem loop to my cupcake, and I'm going to do that in the top center, and I'm going to anchor the bottom like maybe an inch down, or do it into like round 8 of your frosting. And just put a couple stitches in. You're just trying to provide an anchor, because ultimately when you sew your cherry on top, that's what's really going to secure everything. So don't get too crazy about sewing the loop down right now. I'm just going to tie this off. Now we're going to sew on the cherry. But first what I'm going to do is weave the end in that's in the back of it, and I'm going to show you kind of like this sneaky thing that I do sometimes. Sewing in your ends can be really annoying, but it can also be an opportunity for you to close up any funky holes that you don't like that are in your work. That sometimes just pop up unexpectedly. So like if you do adjustable ring, magic circle, you might not get this weird hole in the center of your rounds, but I sometimes do. So when I'm weaving in my end, I'll kind of use that as an opportunity to tighten up this little hole in the back a little bit. ultimately, if you have your own little sneaky tricks and weird things that you do that you might not necessarily put in a pattern, but it helps make your work look better, like, just do it. Just make up your own stuff. Who cares? No one cares. There's no rules. Okay. Now we're going to create that sandwich I was talking about, where we sandwich our stem between the cherry and the frosting. So you can, if it's easier, you can just bring your cherry all the way down, or you can have it sticking up a little bit. It's totally up to you. We will have ours sticking up a little bit. So if you want to avoid your stitches showing on the back, just go through your cherry and only pick up maybe a loop or two of your frosting. Don't go all the way to the back, and then come back up through your cherry. And that way the sewing will look a little bit more invisible if you're worried about that. If you're not so much worried about that, you can just sew through all the layers and it's probably easier. So it just depends. Like, if it's a present, you might want it to look prettier. If it's just for you and you don't care what the back looks like, doesn't matter. I think mine might be off center just because my sewing situation is a bit awkward with my tripod and I can't really, I'm standing at an angle, so I don't know. Mine will be a little bit off center, but you can make yours more centered. Yeah. This is awkward. Okay. I don't know what it looks like. Actually, oh, my hand is completely in the way. That's awesome. Okay. I haven't quite figured out how to do all my I'm going to go all the way through here on the top. I just really want to make sure, for me, that everything is nice and secure up here. Like, I want to really secure my hands. Right here. And then you can just tie it off. And then So I hope you guys had fun with your cupcake dishcloths. You can make them in so many different colors and have so much fun. Mother's Day is a couple months away, so I think these would make a really awesome Mother's Day present. So yeah. Sorry about the dogs. If you guys have questions about certain techniques or certain portions of my free patterns, please let me know and I can do video tutorials for them. Again, I probably won't do a lot of full patterns on video just because I really want to encourage you guys to learn to read patterns, but if there are funny bits or just certain methods that you want a visual for, just leave me a comment or email me or message me or whatever, and yeah, we'll try to do more video tutorials for you guys. I think the next one I'm going to do is a pretzel pin, just because it is actually really easy. And the only tricky part is sort of figuring out how to twist it correctly, and I also have some tricks for sewing it down. So yeah, have fun with your cupcake dishcloths.